recognize that now. I was creating the problem. No plus. Okay, let me see here. Okay. Hi, good morning again. We absorb a little time there, so I'll go straight to it. This morning I'm speaking about the fall of the Christian church. I'm not speaking a bit from the perspective of the four horsemen, as someone asked me last night. I'm speaking from the perspective of how things happen, how we have come to this point. Is this what God desires? How God is responding to us? So it will be more, the presentation will be more in a sermon form. So that's why I'm asking all those who are listening to me. It might be good if you go to YouTube, because there's a lot of graphics and there's a lot of text that I'll be using this morning that you will need to hear. I want to start by saying, have you ever heard of the disease called amnesia? Imagine if suddenly you forgot the past. How would you know what to do next? If you do not know the past, you cannot understand the future. And when I see all the jingle bells and things around, I know it's people who don't understand the past. So if you can't understand the past, you will not understand the present and forget about the future. This morning, I want to take you back to the past so you can understand the religious confusion that we have in the world today. You understand why people make all sorts of stories and all sorts of reasons to do the wrong thing. Why people try to bring into God's mix things that are not of God and will argue that it is okay to do. In Revelation 12, 7-9, we read, and there was war in heaven. Michael and his angels fought against the dragon, and the dragon fought. And his angels, I want to know this is heaven we're talking about, the Bible is saying, and his angels, and prevailed not. Neither was there place found any more in heaven. And the great dragon was cast out, that old serpent called the devil, and Satan, which deceiveth the whole world. He was cast out into the earth, and his angels were cast out with him. The Bible said that there was war in heaven. I mean, what a place for war. The most chilling point of that text is that the devil was cast down to the earth. The text also states that the devil deceives the whole world. So think it not strange, friend, that the majority is wrong and the majority continue to be wrong, because the devil had been cast down on the earth, and the Bible said he continued to deceive the whole world. But then in Revelation 12:17 said something to give us who desire hope, give us hope. He said, and the dragon was wroth, the dragon meaning the devil, was wroth with the woman, and went to make war with the remnant of the seed, which keep the commandments of God and the testimony of Jesus. So the Bible is saying that in Bible prophecy, I want you to know, a woman represents the church. And the Bible is saying that the devil is angry with the church. So this morning, we will look at how that anger is expressed and how Christianity fell. But the Bible said there will be a people. There will be a people. Although the world is being deceived, he said there will be a people which keep the commandments of God, and they will have the testimony of Jesus. So in spite of the whole fall, in spite of the misery, the Bible is saying that there will be a people who will keep God's commandment. You know, my favorite writer, Ellen White, said that out of that remnant, there'll be a remnant. So even that remnant that the Bible is talking about, even in that remnant, many will be straying after God. Many will be straying after God, straying away from God, sorry. But there will be a remnant. There will be a people on the face of the earth who will rally behind God, who will keep his commandments, his statutes, who will walk the way he walked, or at least attempt to walk the way he wants them to walk. But before I go on, I want to explain what is a zuggurat, because we're going to talk a lot about the zuggurat and Nimrod in a while. A zuggurat was back in the ancient Mesopotamia, in Babylon, in Iraq, if you want to get a world place today. They have these temples that were built all over Iraq. And it was built in a step form like a pyramid. In fact, the pyramid was a zuggurat. And at the top of that temple. There'll be a top of that tower, there'll be a small temple. And the heathens believe that God dwelt in that temple of the ziggurat. So when we speak about the pyramids, when we speak about Nimrod, the Tower of Babel, all those were ziggurats that the people believe at the top of it, God will dwell in a little temple there. In Genesis 10:6-8, and the sons of Ham, Cush, and Mizraim, and Phut, and Canaan, and the sons of Cush, Seba, and Havilah, and Sapta, and Rama, and Saptacha, and the sons of Rama, Sheba, and Dedan. And Cush begat Nimrod. He began to be a mighty one in the earth. And friend, here is where man began his organized rebellion against God. Nimrod was a mighty hunter in what was an agrarian society. And as such, he was highly favored and revered by the people. He was the Albert Einstein, the Bill Gates, the Anthony Fauci of his time, a time when men were considered highly for works of deeds. Nimrod had a beautiful wife whose name was Semiramis. And just as in our time where the wife of a great man is considered highly by the people, so too, and more so, was in Nimrod time. So Nimrod was this great hunter. Right? It said his fame went all abroad in that heathen world. Everywhere people spoke about him, about this great hunter, because hunting was at the top of the food chain in this agrarian society. So Nimrod was considered truly a great man. But it happens that Nimrod was killed by a wild boar in a hunting accident. His wife, probably so as to maintain her status, told the people that Nimrod had gone to the sun and they could worship him from there by paying obeisance to the sun. She also told the people that when she dies, she will go to the moon. Friend, I'm giving you the understanding where the sun and the moon was alive in the hearts of the heathens. The sun rise in the morning and the moon look after them at night. They saw the sun move across the majestic formation, while at night the moon followed them around. When they stopped, the moon stopped. As they walked, the moon walked, and they saw these two planets as looking over them. Not only that, they saw those planets as gods. You see, in the pagan world, Nimrod went by many names. He went by Baal, Shemush, Ishtar, Dagon, Isis, Ra, etc. While Semiramis was also called Osiris, Adonis, Sheher, Aseret, Diane, etc. As a nation moved and as a culture moved, different name was given to both Nimrod and Semiramis, but they remain the sun god and the moon god. I'm speaking this morning about the fall of Christianity. So the people came to fear the sun. They feared the sun and they feared the gods and the moon because they saw it as power. As the moon kept watch over them in the night, the sun crossed the horizon and the moon came watch over them at night. When they stand, the moon will stand with them. When they hide behind a rock or something, the moon will seem to be standing waiting, but when they return, the moon begin to walk. You ever seen the moonlight? I grew up in the country, so I know what walking on the moon for with you. And they saw this as the moon spying on them. Spying on them for what reason, they couldn't fully understand, but they linked it to good luck and bad luck. They became fearful of the moon, just as they were fearful of the sun. And later on in the late December, the 25th to be exact, a baby was born to Semiramis. And she told the people that her husband, Nimrod, came from the sun and impregnated her. Here we began the first part of the mockery of the birth of Jesus. The first part of the mockery, and I know it's coming here today, is the final part of it. But the first part of the mockery of Jesus' birth started with the devil stating that Semiramis had a child because he knew about Jesus' birth, how it will be. Semiramis had a child without a father, and she named that baby Tammuz and said when he dies, he will go to the stars. And gradually, idol worship and things came to be worshipped instead of Yahweh. Yahweh was losing ground to heathenism. Now in Isaiah 47, 13 to 14, we read, and this was speaking about the horoscope that the stars that where Tammuz died and went to. Thou art wearied in the multitude of thy counsels. Let now the astrologers, the stargazers, the monthly prognosticators stand up and save you from these things that shall come upon thee. That God is speaking there. He said, behold, there shall be a stubble. The fire shall burn them. They shall never deliver themselves from the power of the flames. Now the Bible is saying, let these people save you from what is to come. Let those who tell you who tells you that you are Pisces and that you are Libra and that you are Aquarius and what you ought to do today and tomorrow and the sort of person you ought to be and what will cause you to prosper. God is saying at that time is coming, let them stand up and save you. Let them stand up and save you. You see, the fear of the planets was so ingrained in the heathens. The planets were gods. The planets were super. The planets were looked over them. The planets were what they tried to pay obeisance to because they were fearful of these planets. Now, the first day of the week, now I forget to say, Tammuz, like his father, was killed by a wild boar in a hunting accident. And the people mourned 40 days for Tammuz. The first day of the week was dedicated to the sun. It was the mighty God. The sun was almighty. The sun charged over the horizon, unhinged, unfettered, unmoved, and it get brighter and bigger. And the heathens knew that because of the sun, the plants will grow and that they can live. So the first day of the week was a high day in Babylon. High day in Babylon. First day of the week. As in all things, Nimrod was considered preeminent. The first day of the week was dedicated to the sun. The sun was a mighty God, always going forward, forward ever, backward never. And that's why, friend, when Hezekiah asked God for a sign that God will spare his life, and God said that the sun will move backwards 15 degrees. The missionaries came from Babylon to see Hezekiah. For the Babylons saw their sun God, who was ever forward, backward never, going backwards. And they inquire, how could our God, our great God, go backwards? And someone said to them, there's a God in Israel that will send your God backward. And they came to Hezekiah. They came to find who is this ever-conquering God. But instead of Hezekiah telling them about Yahweh, Hezekiah told them about his riches and his accomplishment. See, God has given Hezekiah an opportunity to witness of the glory of Yahweh. That sun worship and pagan customs will come to an end. But Hezekiah showed the emissaries his triumphs, his riches, his accomplishments. Friend, every great thing that God does for you, he's given you an opportunity that you can tell others of his marvelous work, about his greatness. But too many times we tell a story about ourselves, how hard we study, how much we sacrifice, how much things we did to get through. Hardly ever we say, I don't know, but what I do know, I consulted God and I believe that he heard me and he led me and he provided for me, and that's why I am who I am. We hardly have that message. Now we try to bamboozle people with the idea of Christmas. And we say to them, well, you know, we can use it for a good purpose. Liars, none of them use it for any good purpose, but on the same purpose that the pagans always used it for. Merrymaking, drinking, gift giving, lazing around. And then some of us, for conscience sake, might go to church and spend an hour or might sing a couple carols, but every other thing we do is identical to how the pagans did it. My message this morning is a fall of Christianity. On a typical day in Babylon, and those who just came in, I want to say to you, if you try listening to me on YouTube, You will get more graphics, you'll understand, you'll be able to read the thing for yourself. You'll have a better understanding. On a typical day in Babylon, the priest of the temple, who was usually a homosexual, will have a solemn procession to the river with a cistern in his hand. He filled the cistern with water and raised it to the sun while seeking Nimrod's blessing on the water, which is transformed to magical water, or what they say now, to holy water. Every first day of the week, he will make that trek to the river. And the people will line the banks of the river as he comes back from the river with the cistern in his hand. The cistern that he raised to the sun and said that the water had become magical. And he will sprinkle that water on all those who show allegiance to the sun. It is this that David saw as he looked over his tower. He saw these people going down by the river. He saw the priest with a cistern in his hand. He saw the priest sprinkling the water on the people. He saw the people hoping that he would sprinkle this water for protection. And David sang out. He recognized the fair in the creation as the creation became the creator. And he burst out in singing. He said, I will lift up my eyes unto the hills, from whence cometh my help. And friends, in the King James Version, it will say, from whence cometh my help. But every other version will have a question mark, because a question he was asking, he was being sarcastic. He was saying, I will lift up, no, I won't say sarcastic, he was being rhetorical. He said, I will lift up mine eyes unto the hills, from whence cometh my help? And then he answered the question for himself. He said, my help cometh from the Lord, which made heaven and earth. He will not suffer thy foot to be moved. He that keepeth thee will not slumber. Behold, he that keepeth Israel shall neither slumber nor sleep. The Lord is thy keeper. The Lord is thy shade upon thy right hand. The sun shall not smite thee by day, nor the moon by night. The Lord shall preserve thee from all evil. He shall preserve thy soul. The Lord shall preserve thy going out and thy coming in from this time forth and forevermore. David was speaking about God's dominance over his creation. You know, some of you have heard people say, I lift my eyes to the hills, and no, David wasn't saying help coming from the hills. He was asking the question because the heathens were turning to the hills and they were looking to the hills for such help. And David was saying, I look to the hills. From whence cometh my help? And then he said, my help cometh from the Lord who made heaven and earth. The heathens deck themselves with symbols of the sun on their ears, in the nose, around their belly, and their anklet, that the heathen priests will know who have their allegiance. In Genesis 35, 1-4, read, and God said unto Jacob, arise, go up to Bethel, and dwell there, and make there an altar unto God, that appeared unto thee when thou fleddest from the face of Esau thy brother. Then Jacob said unto his household and to all that were with him, put away the strange gods that are among you, and be clean, and change your garments, and let us arise and go up to Bethel, and I will make there an altar unto God who answered me in the day of my distress, and was with me in the way which I went. I said they could not worship God while having allegiance to other gods. And the allegiance they had was those trinkets that they made as symbol of the sun and the moon and the stars and things like that. And the Bible said, and they gave up in Genesis 35, 1-4, and they gave unto Jacob all the strange gods which were in their hand, and all the earrings which were in their ears. And Jacob hid them under the oak which is by Shechem. God doesn't want competition, friends. He is a jealous God. He created you for his purpose, for his own glory. He created you for his joy. He's created you that you can express, that he can share love and you can express his character. In Exodus 33, 1-6, we read, the Lord said unto Moses, depart and go up hence, thou and the people which thou brought out of the land of Egypt. And I will send an angel before thee, and I will drive out the Canaanite, the Amorite, and the Hittite, unto a land flowing with milk and honey. For I will not go up in the midst of thee, for thou art a stiff-necked people, lest I consume thee in the way. And when the people heard these evil tidings, they mourned, and no man did put on his ornaments. For the Lord had said unto Moses, say unto the children of Israel, you are a stiff-necked people. I will come up into the midst of thee in a moment and consume thee. Therefore now put off thy ornaments from thee, that I may know what to do unto you. And the Bible said, and the children of Israel stripped themselves of their ornaments by the Mount Horeb. I want to say to you that God is the same today, yesterday, and forever. The way that God felt about idol worship and pagan worship back then, he hasn't changed. He's perfect. He cannot change. So he feels the same way about it today. And he never told Moses, you should take this pagan worship and bring it into the church and twist it around and give it a next name and call it something else so that people will know that I exist. The heathens will know. He never said that. The children of Israel had just come out of Egypt, a center of sun worship in Egypt. The bull calf was symbolized, was a symbol of the sun, reproductive power. And they had grown accustomed to seeing that worship. It was an affront to God, and the devil kept it near them as near as he could. So the Lord said unto Moses, get thee down, for thy people which thou broughtest out of Egypt have corrupted themselves. Exodus 32, 7-8, I'm reading now. They have turned aside quickly out of the way which I commanded them. They have made them a molten calf and have worshipped it and sacrificed thereunto and said, these be the gods, O Israel, which has brought thee up out of the land of Egypt. The children of Israel had just come out of Egypt, a center of sun worship. The Egyptian bull calf was a symbol of the sun, and it stayed with them. It stayed with them. He said, and it came to pass as soon as he came nigh unto the camp, that's Moses, and he saw the calf and the dancing, and Moses' anger waxed hot. The Bible said, and he cast the tables out of his hands and brake them beneath the mount. Moses' anger grew hot. In Exodus 32, 25-28, is still reading. And when Moses saw that the people were naked, for Aaron had made them naked unto their own shame among the enemies. Aaron, who was the elder, Aaron, who was the pastor, Aaron, who was the leader, Aaron, who made them naked. I'm saying this morning, the fall of the church, the fall of Christianity, the fall of the church has to do not with the pews, has to do with the leadership. When leadership asks the people to engage in things that are not of God and baptize it over and twist it around and say that it was a good use, the people move further and further and further away from what God requires them to do and believe. Then Moses turned the gate of the camp, hear me this morning, and said, who is on the Lord's side? Let him come unto me. And all the sons of Levi gathered themselves together unto him. And every man his companion, and every man his neighbor. And the children of Levi did according to the word of Moses. And they fell of the people that day about 3,000 men. They were slaughtered. The children became naked because of the leaders. People were being misled. People are being misled today all over the world because of the leaders. God responded to the corrupting influence in a most stark and violent way. And God is the same God today yesterday, and forever. In Numbers 25, 1-5, and Moses, son of the judge of Israel, slay ye every one his men that would join on to Baal Peor. Slay them, he said. God was directing Moses because God, if there's anything we say God hates, is pagan worship, false worship, challenge worship. He said, I am a jealous God. Continue in Judges. We continue in Judges. And the children of Israel abode in Shittim, and the people began to commit whoredom with the daughters of Moab. This is Numbers 25, 1-5, I'm reading here by Moab. And they called the people unto the sacrifices of their gods. And the people did eat and bow down to their gods. And Israel joined himself unto Baal-peor, and the anger of the Lord was kindled against Israel. Friend, I want you to follow me. I'm going to read about 4 more of these texts before I get into the exact 4 of the whole thing. And Moses said to them, and the Lord said unto Moses, take all the heads of the people and hang them up before the Lord against the sun, that the fierce anger of the Lord may be turned away from Israel. God, again, the devil was trying to set up his worship around God worship. Not inside, but around God worship. And by trying to set up around God worship, the anger of the Lord waxed hot. And God again destroyed that system of worship. In Judges 6:24-27, we read, then Gideon built an altar there unto the Lord and called it Jehovah Shalom. Unto this day it is yet in Ophrah of the Abazarites. And it came to pass the same night that the Lord said unto him, take your father's young bullock, even the second bullock of 7 years old, and throw down the altar of Baal that thy father had built. And I want you to really follow me this morning. I want to really follow. Somebody's trying to help me. I don't know what to do. Okay. Thank you, David. Okay, you said to take your father's bullock. Excuse me. I'm trying to. All right. Can't have that. All right. And he said unto him, take your father's young bullock, even the second bullock of 7 years old, and throw down the altar of Baal that is by the father, and cut down the grove. And cut down the grove that is by it, and build an altar unto the Lord thy God upon the top of this rock, in the ordered place. Now the groves were wooden structures where the temple prostitutes would wove themselves naked in different sexual positions. Men would carve the wood and fix in a way that a woman can go and lay there naked. She would fix herself on the wood that she can be braced for long hours. And the wood was built in different sexual positions. This is the grove the Bible is talking about here. And they will use paint to widen their eyes and moist their lips and decorate their faces to seduce men into having sexual worship. Hence, in the Vedas, the Hindu holy writing, there's a chapter called Kama Sutra, deals entirely with sexual positions. To the pagans, this was a form of worship. A form of worship. That's why the most prominent things on Eastern deity is jewelry and makeup. Did I have my guess? This came out of that pagan custom. And hence, sex is always part of all illicit activities. It is highly esteemed sinful activities. Just name it. Whether it's gun running, whether it's human trafficking, gambling, partying, fetting, whatever. The music industry, sex plays a prominent part because it's part of heathens' worship. The heathen took what God gave as a blessing, as a joyous thing, and they twist it into a most evil thing. But sex, makeup, and jewelry are all part of heathen festivities. And food too. It is in the Vedas, it is a form of worship in the Vedas. And jewelry and makeup are the most prominent aspect of Eastern deities. And it has come into the Christian through years and years of apostasy. I'm speaking about the fall of Christianity this morning. I'll get to it. I'm just giving you a foundation that you understand how God treats with apostasy, how he treats with it. You don't say baptize it over, turn it into something else. No, God treats with it in a most definite way. In 2 Kings chapter 10 and verse 25 to 27, we read, and it came to pass, as he had made an end of offering the burnt offerings, that Jehu said to the guard and to the captains, go in and slay them, let none come forth. And they smote them with the edge of the sword, and the guard and the captains cast them out and went to the city of Baal, and they brought forth the images of Baal out of the house of Baal, and burn them, and break down the image of Baal, and break down the house of Baal, and made it a draft house unto this day. And in 2 Kings 23:4-7 read, and the king commanded Hilkiah the high priest, that the priests of the second order and the keepers of the door, to bring forth out of the temple of the Lord all vessels that were made for Baal and for the grove, and all the hosts of heaven, and burn them without Jerusalem in the fields of Kidron, and carry the ashes of them unto Bethel, and put down the idolatrous priests. The kings of Judah had ordained to burn incense in the high places, in the cities of Judah, and in the places round about Jerusalem. Them also that burn incense unto Baal, and to the sun, and to the moon, and to the planets, and to all the hosts of heaven. The Bible said, and he brought out the grove from the house of the Lord without Jerusalem to the brook at Kidron, and burnt it at the brook Kidron. Again, God was responding to heathen worship that was placed next to his worship that was enticing the Israelites. God responded in a most violent way, if we should say so. He said, and break down the house of the Sodomites that were by the house of the Lord, where the woman wove hanging from the grove. The woman, sex, that's why sex is so prominent in everything. It is easily come by among the street. Girls give themselves so easy, and boys are so ravished after it. That's why everything you think about, sex makes the music go wrong. But friend, God continued to fight against it, but Satan never stopped trying, and man never stopped being deceived, and leaders never stopped wanting to stand up. This morning, there are leaders all over the world who are misleading people. All over the world. Even in the church of the living God. Misleading people into this pagan thing that we are encountering here, that is pauperizing the poor, making them sad, because the Christianity has fallen, friends. The Bible spoke about, he said, Babylon has fallen, and we know it points to the citadel of the whole thing. But as far as when we say a man is fallen, we can say that with Christianity. When they say the guy fall from grace, what do they mean by that? But Christianity has fallen from grace. But good news is that the Bible says there'll be a remnant, and the prophet of the Lord say there'll be a remnant of that remnant. It will happen again, the worst and far most reaching in the days of the Roman Empire. In the first century, the first 100 years after the death of Christ, at this time, Rome was the center of sun worship on the earth, and the whole world was filled with Rome's influence. Yet there was a rising tide of Christian thought, even in Rome. This was a great battle. Satan, recognizing that Yahweh had at every juncture tore down his worship, decided to mislead the leaders of the church into adopting his paganism into the true worship of God. I'm saying to you, friend, the fall of the church has nothing to do with the pews. The fall of the church has to do with the leaders. Satan recognized that Yahweh had every juncture tore down his worship, decided to mislead the leaders of the church into adopting his paganism into the true worship. In his battle with Licinius Maximus for control of Rome, Constantine joined the Christian minority, which was fast growing in numbers and influence. He gave them power and prestige and land and told them he dreamt a blazing cross in the sky. And he took his whole army on horseback and they ride through the river. And he said that his army had been baptized. And the church, which was already into corruption, embraced Constantine as one of their bishops. It was a compromise to have one state religion. The church made Constantine a bishop and began a process to merge Christianity with Lutheranism. It was the beginning of the fall of Christianity. It was the beginning of the fall of Christianity. 40 days of Lent. The 40 days of Lent that the pagan used to mourn for Tammuz became the 40 days. The 40 days that the pagan used to mourn for Tammuz became the 40 days of Lent. Nowhere in the Bible is Lent mentioned. Nowhere in the Bible. In Ezekiel 8:5-12, we read, "Then said he unto me, Son of man, lift up your eyes unto the north. So I lifted up my eyes the way towards the north, and behold, northward at the gate of the altar, this image of jealousy in the entry. He said furthermore unto me, Son of man, seest thou what they do, even the great abomination that the house of Israel commit here, that I should go far off from my sanctuary? But turn thee yet again, and thou shalt see greater abomination than these. And he brought me to the door of the court, and when I looked, behold a hole in the wall. Then said he unto me, Son of man, dig now in the wall. And when I had digged in the wall, behold a door. And he said to me, Go in and behold the wicked abomination that they do here. So I went in and saw, and behold, every form of creeping things and abominable beasts and all idols of the house of Israel portrayed upon the wall. And there stood before them 70 men of ancient of the house of Israel. Then said he unto me, Son of man, hast thou seen what the ancients of Israel do in the dark? What the elders, that's what he meant by ancient of Israel. The elders, the leaders are the ones who have destroyed the church. Friend, this morning, if you go into a leader's home, you will see Christmas tree and mistletoe and holly wreath, and you'll hear them saying Merry Christmas. You'll hear that in their homes today. Just as he told Ezekiel, go in and dig in the wall. Because the leaders are the ones. They are the ones who have misled the people. They are the ones who have contributed to the fall of Christianity. Because they are indulgent fellows. Ezekiel 8:13 said, and he said to me, turn again, and you will see greater abomination than they are doing. Turn again, he said, you will see greater abomination. So he brought me to the door of the north gate of the Lord's house. Come on. And to my dismay, women were sitting there weeping for Tammuz. And there's a reason, if I have time, I'll come back to the woman. There's a reason why the woman takes such prominence. The cross, that some people hang it on the tie. So when we talk about the cross, when you hear me speak about the cross, I'm not speaking about that tea. I'm speaking about that sacrifice, that atoning sacrifice, that God shed his blood on that stake, as I taught your stake. That's what I'm speaking about. On that tree that he was pinned on. It became convenient in the fall of Christianity to say it's a tea. because the cross was a symbol of Tammuz, the T for Tammuz. Anywhere the pagans went, they made the T sign for protection. Before going hunting, they make a sign of the T across their forehead, or going swimming, or while praying to the sun god. Hence, when you have hot cross buns. The Madonna. What do you say the Madonna now? In Babylon, it was Semiramis and Tammuz. In Rome was Balder and Fortunae. In India was Lakshmi and Krishna. In the church brought it in the church, and they call it Mary and Jesus. The same pagan thing has been Christianized as a form of worship. The rosary, the pagan used the chain decked with the symbols of the sun for protection, like when they went by the river and David had to cry out. We have that rosary, these beads now that people are playing with and praying and praying and praying and praying. That came from the heart of paganism. I'm speaking this morning about the fall of Christianity, and I hope as I'm seeing you, I hope I'm speaking, you are seeing that fall that I'm talking about. The nimbus or the halo was used by the pagans to identify their deities. It was painted on the walls in cave. It showed that they had covering of the sun god. You see, those pagan societies were different, used different forms of hieroglyphics for writing. Picture was used to represent words and letters, and as such, the sun over the head of an individual depicts a god or someone of importance. I've lived to see it in the church, even the Church of the Living God, where pictures of Jesus are covered with a halo around it also. Christianity has fallen. The mistletoe, which is witchcraft, which is witchcraft at its finest, I should say. The Celts believe that if they kiss someone under the mistletoe, the person will be their life's partner. Witchcraft. At the church, there are some church doors you will find it. They are in some of the leaders' homes, the pastors and the elders and the reverends, you will find it. All saints will have to say, the Celts and the Druids believe that one day each year, the god Samhain will allow the dead to return to their graves. The pagan clean up the graves in anticipation of their loved ones. In the city, there will be bonfires for Samhain himself to walk through. Are you with me? That is why Halloween, Diwali, Latuse are all around the same time of the year. It is the same event in different culture, regardless of what they tell you it is. It is the same event. That's why they all fall in that early October period. Different cultures, different reckoning of the Julian calendar, different reckoning of the year, when the year started and when the year ended, has created the difference in it being a different time. But they remain the same festival that the heathens worship. It is out of these cultures you have immortality of the soul. Sunday worship, whoever listening to me. Nowhere in the Bible said to you that you should worship on a Sunday. But the Bible said to worship on a Sabbath. And there are some folks who boldly will say that, but yet today they are celebrating Christmas. They're no different from you. No different whatsoever. Sunday worship, churches built, there are churches who are built with seating facing the east. So when the people sit in the church, they face the sun. The churches are built that way. There are churches like that. When you go to the cemetery to bury someone, somebody always asks them, what they head in this direction? That is all part of the pagan thing, that they face the east, face the rising of the sun. And Christmas or Easter, I want to make sure I do, okay, 10 minutes. Didn't take any calls this morning, friend. I need to get this out. We can pick it up on next Sunday if we want to. Christmas or Easter is one Christmas and Easter, one is conception, the other is the birth. 9 months apart. From Easter to Christmas, you have these 9 months where one was the birth or the conception of Tammuz, and the other was the birth of Tammuz. The pagans had their spring festival as a celebration of Semiramis' conception without a husband. She was considered a goddess of fertility. The pagans made cake with a T for Tammuz on the top. Of course, buns, you know what I'm talking about. Ham is not a delicacy only in Trinidad, it's all over the world. You see what had happened? The pagan at Christmas time, at that festival of Bacchanalia, they would kill wild boars and sacrifice those wild boars because those wild boars took out Nimrod and Tammuz. But as the pagans grow, because pagans multiply, as the pagans grow, wild boars were difficult and they begin to rear that common sign that you have on your table this morning. That begin to be part of the whole thing. And every Christmas, all around, every festival of Bacchanalia, the pig was in trouble. And then when you have the idea of Easter with the eggs and things like that. When Marshall Montano sang Toro, Toro, what he was singing about? When Scrunter said, I want a piece of pork. Why pork? Why do you want a goatee or some unclean meat? Why pork? It's because it's the festival of it. It's the time of it. The Easter eggs. The Easter because Semiramis had a child. That's why we have bunny and eggs at Easter time. It's a symbol of fertility. 9 months after Christmas, the pagans had a feast. The feast, 9 months after Easter, the feast of Christmas, December 25th. Festival of Bacchanalia, where they had all the droppings and the holy wheat and the Yule log and all the things you see right now. It was the birth of Tammuz or the birth of Bacchus. That's why you get Bacchanalia. Bacchus was considered a god of merriment, and hence you do not have Happy Christmas, but Merry Christmas. This is a fall of Christianity I'm speaking about. The fall of Christianity, the god of merriment, the heathen. And I think I said, if you are not convinced by now, you will not be. But I want to read some history. Church history, century 2, chapter 2, section 7 said, Christianity became an established religion in the Roman Empire and took the place of pagan. Terence Brown is not writing this. This is what I'm getting in my research. I did not write this. Christianity became an established religion in the Roman Empire and took the place of paganism. Christianity as it existed in the Dark Ages might be termed baptized paganism. That's what Christianity is today. But there's a remnant. The Bible says, I will keep the commandment of God. But I don't want you to lose focus because I have been around that remnant and I agree with the prophet when he said, a remnant of that remnant will be saved. Because a large part of that remnant are still holding on to these trappings of paganism. But I want to say God is the same today, yesterday, and forever. How did God treat it with false religion in the time of Moses and Gideon? How did he treat it in the time of Ezekiel, in the time of Jeremiah? How did he treat it with it? Did he join on and ask the people to rename it and let it serve a good purpose? It could serve a good purpose. Did he say that? Who were the ones who did not stand against false doctrine? The leaders are the ones who did not stand. The leaders are the ones who are misleading you this morning as I speak. In Revelation 12:7-9 said that the great dragon was cast out, that old serpent called the devil and Satan, which deceiveth the whole world. He was cast out into the earth, and his angels were cast out with him. What we are witnessing today is the fall of not only the devil, but the fall of Christianity. And yes, worse is yet to come. I want to say to you, but we are witnessing today the fall of Christianity. From that white horse that blazed across the sky that John was speaking about. We are where it is beggarly. We are where it is battered. We are where it's a shadow of itself and more akin to paganism than to what God wants us to be. Revelation 12:70 said, the woman and the dragon was wroth with the woman. He went to make war with the remnant of the seed. which keep the commandments of God and has the testimony of Jesus Christ. There will be a remnant, friend. There will be a people who will follow God. They will defy the devil, the leaders and the customs of this age. There will be a people. There will be a people. This very drunkard festival with much revelry and gift giving, this was what was happening in the days of all the ancient prophets. The most striking symbol of the devil's authority happened in AD 321, when Sunday worship was legalized and thousands of Christians lost their lives for disobedience. The devil has joined the church. It was the fall. It was a fall of Christianity. The devil has joined the church. The devil has joined the church. I want to use a last, like how about last text. That God was, when he was speaking, he said, therefore, Jeremiah 7:16-18, therefore pray not thou for this people, neither lift up a cry nor pray for them, neither make intercession to me, for I will not hear you. Seest thou not what they do in the cities of Judah and the streets of Jerusalem? You see that going on this morning? The children gather wood, and the fathers kindle the fire, and the women knead their dough to make cakes to the Queen of Heaven, and to pour drink offerings unto other gods, and that they may provoke me to anger. God is speaking this morning, friend. I did the best I could. I raced through, but I feel that I raced through in a way that you could have followed. When we speak of the fall of Christianity, I'm not saying that there's no more. There is a remnant. But even in that remnant, the devil had been able to intercept. He had been able to get in, but thank God, there will be a group of people who will not bow. And you can be part of that. You can forget what your leaders are saying and recognize these things are not in the Bible, so it's not of God. I want you to be blessed this morning. I want you to ponder on all that they said this morning. It's on YouTube. You can go back to it. I understand demonstrate my notes were showing, so you can even read the notes. I get a good understanding if you don't understand what I'm saying. Because God is not in any way in this festival. Job said, who can bring a clean thing out of the unclean? No, not one. So those folks who are saying you can use it to a good purpose, they are mocking God. They are making a mockery of God. And this is evidence that Christianity has fallen. As we go, I want to say that when there was no volume, this is what is happening. This is what I was saying, that next year, on the next Sunday, will be our 22nd year on the airwaves and 30th year as a project, this Victorious Lifestyle. It started with me doing crusades and the like with it. But next week, and for those who have kept the faith with me, I want to thank you. I don't want to read the list. The list is long. For those who have helped me this year, I was saying to those who are in my sister over there, Brenda, who is in Philadelphia, I was praying for you guys that no harm will come with this bomb storm that you're having. My sister Lynette Greenwich, my sisters Marion, Miriam, my sister June, and all those who have been out there and have been supporting the program. I want to say thank you. And for those, I want to give a broad thank you also as I come to the end of another Roman year. For those, there are 3 groups I had it in last night, going through it. There's a group that I will request from and will not even answer. I still say thanks to you because I know you listen to the program. And then there's a group who will answer and say, I will give, but they never do. Promise and don't. I still want to say thank to you because you're telling me you give me hope. And then there's a small group who I will call your names next week, who have been given to the program religiously. I want to thank you tremendously. As I said before, you are the wings beneath my wings. You are the wind beneath my wings. And I want to say those who would like to give, the 2 numbers, TT Limited, First Citizen Bank, account number 1450203, 1450203. Or you can go to RBC, the account number is 1000791 703 24555. Let's call it again, 1-000-791-703-24555. I want to thank you very much, and Ruskin, thank you very much for enjoying with me this morning. God bless you and your family. Bye-bye, everybody.
Thank you very much, Pastor Brown. And of course, I look forward to next week when we'll do it all over again. Thank you so much. This is Talk City 91.1 FM as we continue here on a beautiful Sunday morning. It's Christmas in Trinidad and Tobago and around the world. Merry Christmas to one and all.
Talk City 91.1 FM celebrates